Let me just address the elephant in the room. My hair's wet. I got a big juicy zit right here and I haven't done a video in a month. So yeah, here I am, and we're just gonna jump into like a fun video today. And so let me first explain the wet hair. And the wet hair is actually part of my list of my favorite things from the summer. Not going around with wet hair, but this is part of the curly girl method process. So I've been air drying my hair a lot more, and it takes forever for my hair to dry now. So if I don't just live my life with wet hair on my hair wash days, then I can't get anything done. So I just figured, whatever, I'm just gonna do my video with wet hair. We're all friends here, it's not a big deal. So it's been a super busy summer for me. I'm just wrapping up A Night for Green Beauty, which was my one and only sale of the year. I'd meant to make some YouTube videos about it. I had meant to release a video on Astral, which was my limited edition product that's already sold out, but none of it happened. So it's been busy. I've been preparing. I am a one-woman army, and so there's times when I just, you know, I have to sacrifice some things, and YouTube is what was sacrificed. But I am happy to be back. Things should be calming down now for a couple of months, and I'm hoping to do some more videos. So like I mentioned, the wet hair is because of the curly girl method. So I had mentioned that I was getting into this. It's been nearly 2 months now that I've been practicing being a wavy. I'm actually getting my hair cut in 2 days by a curly hair specialist, and so it'll be my first curly girl cut. I'm opting not for a diva cut, which is the style of cutting that Lorraine Massey developed, and she is like the founder of the curly girl method. I feel like my hair is too fine and not curly enough to really benefit from a dry cut. Because the idea of a dry cut is that they cut your hair when the curls are formed, so that your cut conforms to your curl pattern and not so much just the actual length of your hair when wet. But I feel like because I'm wavy and very fine haired, that I have days where I'm a lot wavier than other days. So even my curl pattern on like the curliest day doesn't necessarily merit that kind of cut, I think. And so the woman that I found is someone in Ottawa. She's got really great reviews. She specializes mostly with black hair, but I asked her if she also does you know, sort of fine wavy hair, and she said for sure. And then I was looking on her profile and I noticed that there were some people with some kind of similar hair types to my own with some good results. So I'm gonna go see her. I'm nervous and I'm excited, but I feel like it's good when you're starting a new hair thing to, you know, to get a haircut that helps you move in that right direction. And so it's been a really long time since I've had a haircut. I've trimmed my own hair, but you know, I'm still growing out this whole nape shave thing. It's really getting really curly under there. So, and then I'm growing out my bangs, I guess. So I feel like she doesn't have a lot of hair to work with. But anyhow, the curly girl method has been an obsession of mine for the past 2 months. So it's been so much more than, make sure my mic is actually plugged in. It's been so much more than just like doing my hair. And I think that this speaks so true for so many people who decide to embrace curly girl method, is that it's really about accepting yourself exactly as you are. So I've noticed that a lot more of the like more religious curly girls, they often talk about just like accepting the hair that God has given you. And although I'm not religious, I agree with that. It's just a lot of us go through life not realizing how much we've been fighting our natural hair. And I never really related to that, because whenever I would hear that, like fighting your natural hair or going natural, I would always think more about the stories and the journeys that I had, you know, seen of black women no longer using like the chemical relaxers and just letting their hair be as curly as it wants to be, and whether that's embracing an afro or like painstakingly growing their hair long and watching their ringlets form. You know, that was more how I thought about what it meant to accept natural hair. And so I'm like, well, you know, I'm just a white girl or whitish girl with wavy hair with some ringlets. Like, I could see how liberating it would be to, like, you know, if you've got extremely kinky hair, to just like let your hair go, or just like shave off all of your hair, you know, never do extensions again, never do relaxers and that kind of thing, like just really breaking free. But for me, I'm like, I just have like whatever hair. It's not curly, it's not straight, so I would always take a straightening iron to it. Even whenever I was like forming waves, I was doing that with a straightening iron. Even whenever I would let my hair dry, oof, I thought I saw someone behind me, dry naturally, I would twist my hair so that I would get some waves, but that my hair was being stretched so that I would have a smoother wave. So without even realizing, I had been manipulating what my natural hair is. And so doing the curly girl method, I realized, you know, what kind of products I could be using, how to wash my hair, how to take care of my hair in ways that I didn't really consider before. Anyways, I will do a whole curly girl method video. The good news for those of you who are a fan of my products is that I am becoming obsessed with hair products and with studying and learning about hair, so you can see where this probably is gonna go. So yeah. And, okay, so on a lighter note, something I've been really into, last week we watched Iliza Shlesinger on Netflix, and I'd never really watched her work before. Anyways, she's a stand-up comedian, and her newest is called Elder Millennial, and it's friggin' hilarious. So really poignant and very relatable if you are in your mid-30s. Because this is what she's talking about. So it's really like speaking to, you know, my generation, our generation. She was born in '83, so she says that she's technically the oldest millennial that you can be. I thought it was actually the year that I was born, which is '81, so I'm not sure. Anyways, she probably did her research actually, because she just based a whole, you know, show on it. But anyways, really funny. Go and watch it. Really, you know, like I said, it's really poignant to this time in the world, just this new wave of feminism that is so long overdue, and is just finally being heard, I feel, more and more. Anyways, such a long ways to go, but she does talk about, you know, a lot of these topics, and super interesting. And I've been on my own, like, I don't know, I mean, I've always been kind of a feminist, but like I don't really like say that I'm one, but like I just am one in like the way that I act and have like lived my life. So recently I've been really getting into stories and books with like a female, like a central female character. And so like I call them my bedtime stories, or like my lullabies, for the past 2 years have been free books on Kindle Unlimited, that I just ended up, I don't know, I started reading like a few trashy novels and then they started being recommended to me, and then from there I just got really into like these series, and they're kind of, it's different authors. One that I really like was, oh no, I forgot her name, Petra, I don't know, she's German. If I remember, I'll put her name in captions, but she's a German author, bestseller, who has been translated into different languages and obviously English. And she does these like 3-part series, and the first one I read, you know, it's all like she does like the female entrepreneur in a certain time and place. So often it's like 19th century, I think these were in Germany, where a woman sort of like breaks the stereotypes and, you know, the societal constraints around her to become an entrepreneur in a field that is obviously male dominated, as pretty much everything has been, and she, you know, struggles against that and then like rises to the top, and then like usually there's like a, you know, like a bad male character who she has to like separate herself from, and then she like falls in love with like a super supportive, awesome guy. So it's super formulaic, but I've really enjoyed them. And then, so the first series I think has been my favorite. The first book was about a woman who becomes a bicycle mechanic, and then she ends up being like selling bikes, and she had to like dress as like a boy to like learn how to bike ride because women weren't even allowed to bike. And it was called While the World Sleep, or While the World is Asleep. And then the second one, I think I read them slightly out of order though. The second one was about a woman, the same character's best friend who ends up moving to Champagne in France and runs a champagne business, and it's all about champagne, and it's really interesting because I was very into drinking champagne at that time too. And then the third one is called something really embarrassing, like The Queen of Beauty or something, but it's a woman who leaves an abusive relationship to start a cosmetics company and at Lake Constance, and it's just like, I love these books so much. So anyways, and I've just like gone from there, just like reading, I don't know, I must have read over the past 2 years at least 25 books. Like, I go through series of like 3 books like nothing. I was told that I might like the Outlander series, but I think it's like a bit too like cheesy sexy for me, maybe. I don't know. I'll look into it. I just remember watching like the show and just being like, meh. Like, it's kind of cool because I'm into like the historic female healers, which was like a whole other series that I read, like The Secret Healer, and like, it's all super cheesy, you guys, but like, they're good books to, like, I read a lot. I do not keep my phone in the bedroom as a rule. I haven't for years. I would never fall asleep if I did. I read my Kindle. The light's not on, I'm not bothering anyone, and I always fall asleep by my Kindle hitting me in the face, like pretty much every night for years now. So I love my bedtime stories. They are easy books to like get into, but they don't insult your intelligence. Like, these are well-researched, you know, intelligent, provocative books that you can just breeze through. Oh yeah, and then one of the last series I read was by a different author. I never remember the author's names, I'm terrible. But I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was like in 2008, this apartment in Paris was discovered that had been untouched since the Belle Epoque. And so everything was just like covered in dust and like a beautiful apartment. And so there's a whole series of books that was based on that discovery, and so the author just like made up a whole story around it. The only thing that was kind of known about the apartment, I haven't looked at pictures yet, I can't believe I've forgotten to look at pictures, but the only thing known about it was that the apartment was owned by a demi-mondaine back in Paris, like during the Belle Epoque, during like the Jazz age. And a demi-mondaine is basically a super high-class prostitute, but she would be a girl who came from like very poor, humble beginnings and worked her way up, and they sex trade. Also, they were actresses, but they were the it girls of the time, and they had really, really like high, you know, profile customers, you know, like, you know, the Prime Minister and like just really, really, really high end, yeah, Johns or whatever. And yeah, so like it was the demi-mondaine of that time. It was her apartment, and it was just amazing. Like, there's a painting, an original painting by Baldini that was discovered, and this is true. And so it's a whole fictional series based on this discovery. And I don't know, like, I love abandoned buildings and you know, I love vintage stuff, so like for me it was just like like I couldn't stop. It was so good. And that's another one of the kind of tropes or whatever of these books that I'm reading, is like a girl who ends up inheriting something. Like, it could be a title, or it could be land or a home or something, and she has to like figure out this whole like mystery around it. So it like switches between modern times and like the past, and it's like this connection to her ancestors and to like the old country, because it's usually American girls who are discovering their, you know, German pasts or French past or stuff like that. So super into it. So on that note, whenever we went to Montreal a few weeks ago, we went to there's this awesome bookstore on St. Catharines called Argo Books. It's an English bookstore, and it's a teeny tiny little bookstore, so the man who owns it has to, like, he really curates his collection. And so my husband was buying a few books because he's starting to write fiction more and more, and so he was buying some books on writing and some short stories, and then we bought some books for my son, and I'm looking and I basically wanted like every book, but because I know that the only thing I seriously sit down and read and will read all the way through are those my Kindle books, besides, you know, something that's reference, which I don't really read all the way through usually anyways. So I was like, I'm just gonna go for something really different. So I have never read graphic novels. I own one, Louis Riel, and I bought that one because so part of like my past, my own ancestral past is being Métis, which is half Native Canadian and half French. So there's some like Métis family members, you know, in my past. So I was interested, and Louis Riel was like the sort of like the leader, like the political leader of the Métis. I don't even remember, like, my history is terrible, and, you know, they don't really pound Canadian history into your heads, especially when there's like Native stuff involved anyways. So I decided to go for a graphic novel, and because I'm into like heroines and women doing, not into heroin, into heroines and things, women, you know, doing things, women doing really awesome things that are just, you know, everything's against her, and, you know, to be able to like accomplish what she believes in her soul that she needs to do. This is my trope, you know? So I found this book, and I was just like, I have to have it. Oh god, everything's gonna fall over. Everything's gonna fall over. Oh, I have like 2 other books I want to show you guys. This is gonna be a long ass video. Okay, so I bought this book. It's called Brazen: Rebel Ladies Who Rocked the World, and it's just beautifully illustrated. Like, it's, you know, graphic novel style. And then after every little chapter, they're usually just a few pages, is about one particular woman, and then at the end of her story there's always like this pretty nice little art piece. And okay, I'll tell you guys like some of the women in here. Like, so cool, the women in here. So there's Clémentine Delay, she's a bearded lady. There's Nzinga, who's the queen of I'm not gonna say this right, Queen of Ndongo and Matamba. There's Margaret Hamilton, who's an actress. She was the Wicked Witch in Wizard of Oz. Las Mariposas, Explorers, Josephine Baker's in here. There's some empresses in here. There's some celebrities. There's an animal. Oh, Temple Grandin, the animal whisperer's in here. There's a rapper named Sonita Alzadeh. She's from Afghanistan. There's inventors, activists, like, it's super cool. I just read it in like 2 mornings. And then this is really funny, on the streets of Toronto last week, on my way to a night for green beauty, like I was on my way to the Graydon headquarters to meet with my colleagues, I found Anita Roddick's book, Body and Soul. So she's the founder of The Body Shop. So this book was published in '91. So it's really cool. As I'm leafing through this, I'm like, I'm really identifying with this, and it's bringing back so many memories of like 11-year-old me who was so into The Body Shop and their activism, and I'm like, it makes my heart feel good, because I'm like coming full circle, you know, and it's a good reminder. It's like, I am my original me, like I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. Even sometimes I'm like, why am I in skincare? Like, what a weird thing for me to doing. Is this important enough? But I remember back to like my childhood self, and like being, you know, against animal testing, and like I used to wear this shirt all the time. I used to wear the Body Shop like activism shirts all the time, and like, this is important to me, you know? But going through this book, I mean, there's a lot of like cultural appropriation and like things that now in like 2018 where it's like, you know, a little cringeworthy. But like I said, 91, the intention was in the right place. Her heart was in the right place. She was very much you know, looking at the cosmetics industry and was one of the first people to really offer something alternative and to make us think, you know, about what the advertising is saying and doing to us as women. And yeah, you know, it's just a lot of really good quotes. Like, I just happened to randomly open this. It's like, to me, the desire to create and to have control over your own life, irrespective of the politics of the time or the social structures, was very much part of the human spirit. What I did not fully realize was that the work could open doors to my heart. Like, I love that. There's a bunch of gems in this book like this. So, and then you guys pick up this magazine, Ravenous Zine. It is awesome. It's brand new. This is the 2nd edition. It's beautiful, seriously. And moving on, other things I'm really into this summer. Sunscreen that's easy to apply. Hello, I am the mother of a 5-year-old. I want to spray on the sunscreen, you know, and forget about it. I'm hanging out at the pool, I'm hanging out at the beach or whatever. Like, I don't have time to be faffing about, like, putting on a cream. It's not the healthiest option necessarily, but you know what's healthy to me? Shit being easy. And this summer, I'm all about it. So I like this sun bum stuff. Is it natural? No. Does it smell like bananas? Yes, it does. And I also got a really cool one from Montreal, from a Japanese store. I showed it on Instagram. I'll probably just do an SPF video at some point and I'll show it to you guys. Also another spray on. Terrible. I'm a bad person. I don't care. Another thing I'm into is my homemade kombucha. Need a sip right now. So good, you guys. It's so good. The big flavor that I'm into right now is a turmeric pepper. Yeah, it's pepper and turmeric. It's so good. It tastes like ginger ale, kind of. Actually, it tastes a bit metallic. Usually it tastes like ginger ale. My other flavor that I love is strawberry cardamom. Why these aren't flavors in shops, I don't know. Is my hair getting dry? No, it takes forever. Super into it. I love it. I'm saving so much money by making my own. It's so easy. You guys should try it. It's cool. And then every once in a while I give my hair a rinse with kombucha. It's acidic. It's kind of like apple cider vinegar, so it's good. It's a good way to, like, use it up whenever, you know, you got too much of it. So other things I'm into this summer: camping, big time, getting out into nature, unplugging where there's no reception for like 2-3 nights. Bliss, 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 bliss. I am all about it. I don't even consider myself, at least in the past, to be a very, like, campy kind of person. I mean, but I am Canadian. I'm outdoorsy, I'm rugged, I love nature. I just didn't like sleeping on the ground, but I am all for it. I just have a little bit of trouble with the tent because I'm claustrophobic. It's not super good for the anxiety, but besides that, it's so relaxing. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, it just feels so good afterwards. I'm all about it. And finally, my last thing are NYX underwear. So NYX is the Canadian version of Thinx. I've been wearing their undies and I've bought a few of their bras. The bras, I like my my sports bra by them, and I had my everyday bra was theirs, but I don't know if it's like my boobs changed or like my bra changed, but it doesn't really like fit properly anymore. Like, there's like kind of like no support, but I still really I do like it. But their underwear, I love their underwear. They show no lines. They're silky smooth. They're stretchy enough. There's no what do you call it, seams. And the gusset is like not, it's cotton, but it's like sort of like, I don't know, it's like a panty liner. It's like a nice foamy, I don't know, like I didn't even know that I had a preference in gusset. Gusset, by the way, is like the part, like the crotch part of the underwear. I had no idea that I would have a preference for types. Apparently I do. And the way that they make theirs, well, I'm going to show you. So this is, I actually got 2 of their period underwears. So these are obviously brand new, but they are the period underwears. And their gusset, like, it's thin, you know, it's not like this big thick thing. It's thin, but it's got like, I don't know, do you see how it's woven? it's so comfortable. Like, in a sense, I'm like, like I said, like, I didn't even realize that my underwear before were kind of uncomfortable, or like, I don't know, but it wicks sweat away. It like keeps moisture off of you. I'm really excited to try the period underwear. Apparently they can hold 2 tampons worth. It's gonna be great for camping, and just great for days where like you're not, you know, if you're not sure if you're totally done, or like if you're not sure if you're about to start, stuff like that. I am here for it. So these are the boy shorts. I like the sport boy shorts. That's kind of what I go for. I get a size large if you're interested. I'm nearly 5'8" and about 160 pounds, maybe a little bit less than 160. And the larges fit super comfortably, but they look cute. I have worn them as swimming bottoms before, just like in a pinch, and you know, they're like modest and nice, and like they look kind of like swimming bottoms. And I love them a lot. So that's kind of it. This is a long video, but I was just excited to just do a little show and tell and just chit chat and say hi again, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm excited. I'll see you guys next week. Maybe I'll record another video right now just to get on top of it. It's called batching. I'm like a really profesh entrepreneur like that. Bye, love you guys.